Canadian Airlines pulling out of Cuba, the current fuel disruption destroying corporate confidence in future abilities to gas up and get out on schedule. Good afternoon. This is CTV News at 5. I'm Stefan Keys. After weeks of early warnings that American action in Venezuela could impact Cuba, Canadians are now being impacted by the fallout. Today, Air Canada is pulling the country from its flight schedule, stating fuel shortages means that Cuba can no longer guarantee that they have the supply to meet the demands of all airlines. And as CTV's Austin Lee is about to tell us, the shortage of aviation fuel starts tomorrow and could drag on until March. And Austin, I believe you also have some new information just into the newsroom.
That's right, Stefan. Cuba has been reliant on Venezuela for its energy needs for years, and we're learning of these canceled flights. But with that reliance on Venezuela, it has proven difficult for Cuba. The United States is preventing fuel exports into the island nation, and there is a growing shortage now impacting air travel. Again, Air Canada is suspending service to the country, adding over the following days, the airline will operate empty flights southbound to pick up approximately 3,000 customers already there to return them home. And just in, both flights from Ottawa that were scheduled to depart to Cuba tomorrow are now listed as canceled on the airport's website as well. Air Transat and Sunwing have issued their own travel advisories. They're now offering cancellations and flight changes free of cost, but service to Cuba is not being suspended from those airlines. The Canadian government also advising Canadians to exercise a high degree of caution when visiting Cuba, pointing to food and medication shortages and, of course, that lack of fuel. Many already in the country are being moved around from one resort to another because of a lack of resources.
They are conserving energy and putting people all in one hotel or certain hotels and closing other ones down. That in itself is scary.
We understand that you like my country, you like to go there and have a good time. This is not the right moment to do that.
Members of the Cuban diaspora in Ottawa that I spoke with today tell me they are not surprised to see the current state of affairs in their home country, and they have been warning people about the risks for months. They're also continuing calls for a regime change in their home country. Cuba is experiencing its worst economic crisis in decades, and on top of that, U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to impose tariffs on countries that do send oil to the island. Stefan.
All right, now quickly developing story. CTV's Austin Lee with the update for us. Thank you, Austin. From planes to trains now, it was a stressful weekend for some Via Rail passengers along the Ottawa-Montreal-Toronto corridor. Several trains were canceled, leaving travelers left to scramble and rebook while also looking for answers. CTV's Josh Morano joins us now with more. Josh.
Well, Stefan, Via Rail is citing operational constraints, but for travelers, the cancellations created uncertainty and confusion. 8 Via Rail trains were canceled Monday, with more scrapped on Sunday, impacting service between Ottawa, Montreal, and Toronto. Passengers say they learned of the disruptions with little notice, leaving some worried about connections and upcoming travel plans, while Via Rail says all affected passengers were rebooked or refunded at no cost. Here's how some travelers reacted to the news at Ottawa Station.
I was a little bit panicked that I was going to miss my flight in Montreal. Didn't have a lot of wiggle room there.
I was panicking because the whole train was canceled, and we don't know the exact reason, but they're having problems with one of the lines.
I think people are much more understanding when they have advance warning and they aren't caught by surprise. So I wish them well, and I hope they can fix the problems.
In a statement to CTV News, Via Rail says upcoming severe weather and Family Day weekend travel prompted a temporary reduction in service to prevent longer delays. And as of now, trains are still running Tuesday morning, according to the Via Rail website, but it is still unclear if more cancellations are to follow. Stefan.
CTV's Josh Morano reporting live for us. Thank you, Josh. In the meantime, the fight to work from home is finding new legs this week. The president of Canada's largest public sector union is running with reports that the conditions inside some federal office buildings are, quote, horrendous. It comes as federal workers will be required to spend more time in the office as of this summer. The government insists, while concerning for some, the presence of pests is very common in commercial real estate and that there will be space for all employees to return to work. The Public Service Alliance of Canada disagrees.
Currently, the conditions within the offices are horrendous. There's still issues with the buildings. There's bed bugs, pests. We're talking about mice, bats. There's just issues with the actual setup, and there's not enough space.
The federal budget outlined a plan for Public Services and Procurement Canada to reduce its office portfolio by 50% over the next 10 years. In a statement, the department says given the increase of on-site presence for employees, the reduction target will be adjusted accordingly. Planning in this regard is underway. Many Orleans residents say they can't catch a break when it comes to commuting. Ottawa's East End is just recovering from the disruptions that came from Stage 2 construction of LRT, and now another major project is about to get underway on one of the busiest corridors used in that suburb. CTV's Leah LaRocque is live with the latest on this. Leah.
Well, as you mentioned, Stefan, after years of Stage 2 disruptions and traffic detours, Orleans residents and businesses are dealing with construction fatigue. But another big project is coming, and this one is going to last a few months. Starting next week, crews will begin work to renew a key section of an aging water main between Orléans Boulevard and just past Jeanne d'Arc roundabout on Saint Joseph. Lanes will be reduced, and there will be a full weekend closure of Saint Joseph eastbound lanes. That will likely take place in the spring. Here's the councillor for the area, Laura Dudas.
It's going to be disruptive. And, you know, for a community that's been just over the hump of the major construction for LRT Stage 2, it's not going to be fun. I know I'm not going to enjoy it. But it will be protecting the resiliency of our water supply. It is going to be done fast-tracked. They've got at least 2 to 3 crews who are going to be working here at all hours of the day.
The city's water distribution services will be maintained to area residents and businesses as usual. So the total cost of the project hasn't been finalized, though it is expected to be a substantial investment and funded through the city's 2026 budget. In short, Stefan, this is good news for infrastructure, but bad news for traffic.
That's right. Those behind the wheel about to get more headaches. Thank you, Leah. No. The operator of Eddie Bauer's Canadian stores confirms it has filed for bankruptcy protection in the U.S. and will soon make a similar move here in Canada. Eddie Bauer LLC says the 220 stores across both countries will remain open, but it will host liquidation sales as the court processes get underway and the business seeks a potential buyer. If it can't find someone to purchase the business, Eddie Bauer will begin a gradual shutdown of its Canadian and U.S. operations. The company has 31 stores in Canada, with about half here in Ontario. Some have started marking down inventory by at least 60%. Canadian freestyle skier Megan Oldham has won Canada's second medal of the Winter Olympics with a bronze in women's slopestyle. It was an impressive recovery for her after crashing on her final jump of the second run. She posted the best score of the third round and securing her first Olympic medal. Oldham hails from Parry Sound, Ontario. This is her first Olympic medal. Congrats to her. Coming up on CTV News at 5, a musical institution selling off its items and shutting its doors. We'll have details on the store's move to find its rhythm online. Time now for our first check on the forecast. We're currently sitting at -11. Factor in that wind chill is feeling more like -17, but it is a bit of a reprieve from the cold temperatures we saw over the weekend. There's a chance of flurries, and we'll have more details of a special weather statement a little later. But right now, current temperatures across the region hovering around similar marks, around -8 in Bancroft, which is a little warmer than us here in the capital. And if we take a look at Montreal and Mont-Tremblant, they're also at about -11 and -12. So very similar conditions right across the board. Here's what you need to know. Come cheer on the Ottawa 67s this Wednesday on home ice. They host the Oshawa Generals at TD Place Arena. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. Visit the 67s website for tickets. A live check on traffic right now. We're seeing slow-going traffic on the westbound lanes of the 417 from Parkdale to Woodruff. Eastbound on the Queensway is slow from St. Laurent to Walkley, and the 174 eastbound is seeing moderate traffic volume from the split to Jeanne d'Arc. You're watching CTV News at 5.
Far side pass, and it's an early shot. He scores!
Welcome back to CTV News at 5. As federal public servants have been told they'll be working more days in the office in a few months, one Liberal MP in the Ottawa area is pushing back. Carleton MP Bruce Vanjoy wants the government to reconsider the new policy, among the reasons saying it will hurt work-life balance and increase pollution. Today's radio question of the day is asking, should the government reconsider its return to office mandate?
I think it's a very stupid idea to get public servants back to the office because I don't think anyone would benefit from this. In all honesty, maybe small businesses, but I'm not so sure how much 1 hour lunch would change business for those businesses. People are supposed to be working, remember, not being in the restaurant all day long.
Christy Cameron is here, and Christy, this conversation or debate isn't going anywhere, right?
No, it continues.
People keep wanting to talk about and keep wanting to fight for one thing or the other.
We had our phone lines jammed on Friday's show talking about this mandate, and once again today, people were calling in, people were texting in, and interestingly, I'll tell you, we heard from a lot of public servants today, and I think that means something. You know, as a reporter, when you go out there and you're trying to get a clip from a public servant, for a long time, they were a little camera shy, shall we say, because, you know, it's understandable. They don't want to jeopardize their employment. But on this, they were loud and clear. And they have been calling into the show in droves because they feel so strongly about not being mandated back 4 days a week. Some people have moved. They don't want to deal with the Queensway and the congestion. Others have health and safety concerns, like, you know, mouse droppings. Interestingly, I had somebody on the show today who was saying that it is a major concern. And I had public servants that were echoing that. So, I mean, whether it's health and safety, whether it's traffic, work-life balance, a lot of people don't want to go back.
Right, and a lot of people said that they did their due diligence and checked to make sure that they could move out of the city, per se, and still have a job and work remotely, and now they're saying they feel like they're lied to by their employer.
I also wonder, not because just of the Carleton MP Bruce Vanjoy, who is calling on the government to do a U-turn on this mandate, but I wonder if because of the lack of office space in a lot of departments, that people don't have their own desk and they come in and they don't have anywhere to sit. If this timeline of July, 4 days a week, is going to be pushed back.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. You can join the conversation, leave a comment through the Talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app. You can listen live to Christy Cameron on News Talk 580 CFRA weekdays from 2 to 6. And now watch Christy's segments anytime on YouTube. Subscribe to the News Talk 580 CFRA channel. A musical institution in the nation's capital is hoping to find harmony online, but it means silencing the brick-and-mortar business model. Steve's Music Store is set to close 5 stores in Ontario and Quebec, including its Ottawa location. The store spent more than 4 decades operating out of its original Rideau Street location and moved to its current Catherine Street store last year. The manager says the store has been essential to the city's music scene for everyone from enthusiasts and students to professionals.
It was a place where you'd go and find, you know, your forever guitar. Well, until the next one, because guitar players are guitar players. But yeah, you know, it was a place where you just discover really cool stuff that you didn't know you wanted. It'd be a gathering place without it being formalized, you know? It was just a place where musicians met other musicians.
The company says it's part of a larger restructuring. Only its downtown Montreal location will remain, as well as its online store. Coming up on CTV News at 5, celebrating decades of speed and tradition at an annual snowmobile event in the Ottawa Valley, marking a special milestone this year. Here's what else you need to know. This one's for the heated rivalry fans. Dance Night away this Friday night at the Bronson Centre Music Theatre at Heated Rivalry Night. This is a 19-plus event. Doors open at 8 p.m. Head over to the venue's website for tickets. We'll be right back.
The National Capital Region is jam-packed with incredible experiences you don't want to miss. Hey, I'm Tanea Taylor, your iHeartRadio Weekender, powered by Barhaven Ford. Get the inside scoop on all the biggest and best events every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on CTV, Move 100, Pure Country 94, TSN 1200, and News Talk 580 CFRA. iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford dealership, and Ontario's #1 Ford EV dealer.
Coming up tonight on CTV after the news, E-Talk starts at 7, The Big Bang Theory at 7:30, Extracted at 8, Memory of a Killer at 9, and The Rookie at 10. Now for a closer look at the weather forecast, let's take a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. Right now, the temperature is -11. With the wind chill, it feels more like -17. So if you have fingers or ears, your face exposed, you're definitely going to feel it there tonight. And we do have a special weather statement in effect. When it comes to the watches, we're on the lookout for quite a bit of snow that could start tomorrow morning. It covers much of the Ottawa Valley area, including Ottawa, and to the east of us, it stretches into Hawkesbury. Some of the Seaway municipalities, however, you might get spared the worst of it, even though you might see some flurries. Here in our region that is under the special weather statement, we could be looking at between 7 to 12 centimeters, and you can see some of those snow clouds will be rolling into the region overnight. Again, we could see the snow starting in the morning, on and off throughout the day, with even a chance of freezing drizzle late tomorrow evening. A chance of flurries overnight, -15 for the overnight low here in Ottawa. Snow and a high of -8. In the valley, very similar conditions, slightly warmer at -14. Some flurries overnight, -7 tomorrow with some snowfall. And let's take a look at the Seaway right now. Cloudy skies overnight, again, so you're not expecting some precipitation overnight, but you could see some snow tomorrow, but much warmer than us here in the capital at -3. Time now to take a look at that 5-day forecast. And if you are a skating enthusiast, later this week will be very nice along the canal. Sunny skies start on Thursday, a daytime high of -4, but you don't have to worry about the condition of the canal because those overnight lows sitting in the double-digit territory, negative double-digit territory, will keep the condition nice and solid for you. So again, tomorrow high of -8, Wednesday -4, Thursday -4, and then sun should stick around leading into the weekend unless things change. Here's a look at the stories you're checking out right now on CTV News Ottawa.ca. If you head over to our homepage currently, you'll see that we do have our breaking news banner up. The cause of death for Canadian actress Catherine O'Hara has been revealed. So if you go to our website and click on that red banner, you'll have all the details there. We're now learning that the underlying cause was cancer, that she also had a pulmonary embolism, which is a blood clot that can occur in the lungs at that time. So all the details of Catherine O'Hara's passing on our website, ctvnewsottawa.ca, that just coming into our newsroom. Coming up for us here on CTV News at 5. Hockey night at the Winter Games, the Ottawa Charge hosting a watch party to support Team Canada as the women take on Czechia.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
Here's another live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. Temperature -11. Watch out for that wind chill. And time now for a look ahead to CTV News at 6. Here's Patricia Bull.
Thanks, Steph. Here's what we're working on for 6 o'clock.
Currently, the conditions within the offices are horrendous.
One union president describing conditions inside federal buildings as you heard, horrendous, and says there's not enough space for employees. It comes as federal public servants are preparing to spend more time in the office in just a few months.
We understand that you like my country, you like to go there and have a good time. This is not the right moment to do that.
Air Canada suspending flights to Cuba because of a worsening fuel shortage in the country as it now focuses on getting Canadians home.
In this case, we are looking more for the look and feel of this neighborhood. The province had to do a fulsome study on what we wanted to have in terms of heritage designations as a province.
And some residents of one Canada neighborhood hoping their piece of the city will be officially designated a heritage conservation district. Why it could happen in this particular Canada neighborhood right now. Well, all of that and more is coming up tonight on CTV News at 6. That's right after the early edition of CTV National News with Sandy Ronaldo at 5:30. Steph.
Thank you, Patricia. Now the final 5 other stories we're following today. The Ottawa Charge hosting a watch party this afternoon as Canada's Olympic women's hockey team took on Czechia.
Getting to see these athletes and on the world stage and here at home, it's incredible. You know, we have some of the best athletes in the world, and seeing them hopefully get another win today will be awesome.
Ottawa Charge fans out in force watching some of their hometown stars battle it out at the Winter Games as Canada takes on Czechia. Charge players Brianne Jenner, Emily Clark, and Jocelyn Larocque are part of Team Canada. Canada leads the game 5-1 with less than 1 minute left in the third. Go Canada, go.
It's carrying on a tradition where our fathers and grandfathers and something that's big that people started that brings thousands and thousands of people into this area.
The annual Bonnecher Cup took place this weekend in Eganville. The snowmobile racing event is celebrating its 50th year. The event is often called the fastest show on snow, drawing racers from the region and beyond, as well as families and longtime fans. A new event made its debut at Winterlude yesterday. Runners braved the frigid cold to participate in the festival's first ever Nordique race. Hundreds of participants took part in 1K, 5K, and 12K races along the Gatineau River and Limy Lake.
United States, Canada, and my motherland, mi patria, Puerto Rico.
And many people tuned in to see Bad Bunny's halftime performance at the Super Bowl last night. He gave Canada a shout out during the closing moments, mentioning Canada alongside a number of countries throughout North, South, and Central America as part of a call for unity. His performance was the first Super Bowl halftime show to be performed completely in Spanish.
And they bring in pressure as well, and they get it knocked down as Witherspoon came under pressure.
As for the game itself, the Seattle Seahawks are Super Bowl champs for the second time in franchise history. The Seahawks defense helped power the team to a 29-13 victory over the New England Patriots. What a game. That is CTV News at 5. I'm Stefan Keys. The early edition of National starts now. Thanks for watching, everyone.